Right now, you are holding a small, glowing rectangle of glass and metal in your hand. Your thumb casually swipes upward, dragging an endless stream of bad news across your eyes. A natural disaster over here, a political crisis over there, an economic collapse just a short scroll away. You feel your heart rate rise, your chest tighten, and a heavy sense of dread settle into your stomach. Yet you do not lock your screen. Your thumb swipes up again, seeking more. Why do you keep looking for things that make you miserable? Modern tech critics will tell you that Silicon Valley engineers have hacked your dopamine pathways with slot machine mechanics. They will say you lack willpower or that you are simply addicted to outrage. But the real answer is far stranger, and it stretches back long before the first line of code was ever written. Your brain is not broken. In fact, it is doing exactly what it was designed to do to keep you alive. To understand why bad news is your brain's favorite drug, you have to leave your comfortable room and travel back 70,000 years. Imagine your ancestor, a prehistoric hunter-gatherer, walking through the tall, dry grass of the African savanna. The sun is shining, the birds are singing, and a bush to the left is gently rustling. An optimistic ancestor might assume the rustling is just a pleasant evening breeze. A pessimistic ancestor assumes it is a hidden, saber-toothed cat waiting to tear their throat out. The optimist is happier for a few minutes, but the pessimist survives to pass on their genes. Evolution does not care about your happiness. It only cares about your survival. Because of this brutal math, the human brain developed what evolutionary psychologists call a negativity bias. Dr. John Cacioppo, a pioneer in social neuroscience, demonstrated this by showing people pictures of positive, neutral, and negative images while recording their brain activity. He discovered that the brain reacts with a far greater electrical surge to negative stimuli than to positive ones. A picture of a dead cat triggers a massive spike in your cerebral cortex, while a picture of a beautiful sunset barely registers a bump. Your ancestors survived because they were hyper-aware of threats, monitoring their environment constantly for danger. In the ancient world, missing a piece of good news meant missing a snack, but missing a piece of bad news meant becoming a snack. For millions of years, the information ecosystem of a human being was incredibly small. The threats you needed to worry about were local, immediate, and actionable. If a rival tribe was marching toward your valley, you needed to know right away so you could grab your spear. If a certain berry poisoned someone 3 miles away, that data was critical to your survival. Your brain evolved an insatiable hunger for threat data because threat data was the ultimate tool for self-preservation. When you heard bad news, your amygdala, the ancient almond-shaped alarm bell in your brain, flooded your body with cortisol and adrenaline. This response kicked you into fight or flight mode, giving you the energy to run, fight, or hide. Once the threat passed, your stress levels dropped, and you went back to baseline. But what happens when you take that exact same ancient threat-seeking brain and drop it into the 21st century? Suddenly, your local information ecosystem is replaced by a global fire hose. Your phone does not connect you to a small tribe of 80 people. It connects you to 8 billion people. And because of your evolutionary coding, your brain treats every single piece of bad news on your feed as a local, immediate threat. When you read about a war on the other side of the planet, your amygdala does not understand geography. It simply hears danger, danger, danger. It fires the alarm bells, pumps your veins full of cortisol, and prepares you to fight a predator that is thousands of miles away. This is where the trap snaps shut. In the ancient world, you could look away from the rustling bush once you ran away or climbed a tree. The threat had a clear beginning and an end, but your phone has no end. The algorithms built by social media companies know about your evolutionary vulnerability, and they exploit it ruthlessly for profit. They know that a headline about peace and prosperity will make you smile and close the app. They know a headline about chaos, betrayal, or impending doom will hijack your attention and force you to stay. As behavioral psychologist B. F. Skinner discovered with his famous experiments on animals, the most addictive reward system is an intermittent one. If a rat presses a lever and gets food every single time, it only presses the lever when it is hungry. But if the lever delivers food randomly, sometimes a feast, sometimes nothing, the rat becomes obsessed. It will stand there pressing the lever endlessly, driven by the psychological tension of the unknown. Your phone is a Skinner box for threat collection. Every swipe is a press of the lever. Scroll down. A boring advertisement. Scroll down. A friend's vacation photo. Scroll down. A terrifying report about a mutating virus. Boom. The threat data hits your brain, the amygdala fires, and your evolutionary programming tells you to keep reading to assess the danger. You are scrolling not because you want to see bad news, but because your brain is desperately searching for the resolution to the threat. It wants to find the piece of information that says you are finally safe. But that safety notification never arrives because the internet never runs out of tragedies. The cost of this endless search is profound. Because you can never resolve the threats you see on your screen, your body stays trapped in a low-grade, chronic state of fight or flight. Your brain is permanently convinced that a predator is stalking you from the bushes, just out of sight, and warps your perception of reality. You begin to believe the world is far more violent, corrupt, and hopeless than it actually is, a psychological phenomenon known as mean world syndrome. So how do you fight 70,000 years of evolutionary programming? You cannot simply tell your brain to stop looking for threats, because its deepest instinct is to protect you. But you can change the environment around it. You can recognize that the glowing rectangle in your hand is not a window to your local valley, but a distorted lens magnifying the collective panic of the entire world. You can put a boundary between your ancient mind and modern engineering. Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to look at that small, glowing rectangle of glass and metal one last time. Your thumb will hover over the screen, tempted to drag another wave of chaos across your eyes. But now you know the secret of the rustling bush. You can choose to press the lock button, let the screen go black, and step out of the trap. Because the real world around you is quiet, you are safe, and the screen can wait.